People complain that there is a lack of wintertime employment opportunities in this area. Would you agree with that statement? And if so, what can be changed to better those opportunities?
All right, you've hit my home run here. I'm ready to tell you how to do it. I've lived down here all my life, and I've watched all these vacant lots, and I've seen the city turn away hundreds and hundreds of good little businesses. And it's all because they cannot afford to meet the city's requirements that they need for how much money it costs to put a chair in a restaurant, how many square feet, or all these regulations. They have regulated small business completely out. It's almost unfeasible to do one. And if you come out here and you look at the skyline now, we've done it. We've got a skyline 10 stories tall, 2 miles long. There are people here all over the place, but they don't spend their money in the city. They get right in their car and they drive right outside of the city to somewhere else and spend their money. That's the problem. We failed to keep the small businesses alive, and we failed to spur those small businesses. And I realize, having been down here all these years, there's all these people sitting in their houses doing nothing all winter. And they would do something, but it has to be something they would want to do. No one wants to go be the server at McDonald's, and no one wants to go take the job at the Best Western. People want to do something that they want to do. And my idea, and we've discussed this together, and it is a deregulation process. If we could start going to these vacant lots and allowing people to open small businesses, if it was no more than a food truck with an outhouse and 2 picnic tables and some umbrellas, that's a small restaurant. You could take some of these houses that are sitting on these back streets, if the city would let them do it, allow those people to go open a skateboard shop. When I was a kid, some of those houses were surf shops that built surfboards. There's many, many different things that could be done, and the demand is here. I have stores over here on the super block. I have never had trouble renting them. I just lower the rents a little bit, and here come some willing people with some new ideas. And the problem is there'd be a lot more of those people if there were more spaces available that were priced affordable to allow these people to start small businesses and grow them. We don't allow that in this town. Everybody here wants big, big business, and they want all these businesses to pay for themselves. Small business can't do that. But a small business that employs 2, 3, 4 people, if you could just put 200 or 300 of these over the entire city, you could employ 2,000 or 3,000 people that are now sitting on couches. And we would all have more fun. Look at the variety that we could have if we could have different little options of food. My wife and I actually drive to Chadron, North Carolina, as a food truck that does shrimp tacos. It's so good. We drive to Chadron to go eat there. And the irony of the thing is they put their food truck right beside their old restaurant. They said they couldn't afford to run the restaurant anymore. So they moved into the food truck because they could afford that. And now they feed the whole town of Chadron every day. But those are the most wonderful things to visit. And if we had those peppered throughout our city, and you could get on your Yelp on that phone, it would be interesting and exciting. Because when you do turn around and look, those motels are probably a third to half full all winter. And those people want something to do. We're not giving it to them. And it's time we start bringing back some of that magic. Because once we start filling our streets with people actually doing good things again, they'll have less time to get in trouble. And it'll make everybody feel better, and it'll make a better overall feeling for all of us. All right, I'm going to be bold, y'all. I want the pavilion back, and I'm going to do everything I can do to get it back. And I asked every one of these people with me. We're all on the same theory that we have to put some major attraction back down here to get that magic back, to bring back the families and the quality customers we once had. Myrtle Beach has a lot of potential. And at one time, we were the center of the Grand Strand, and we were what made this area great. Everybody looked to us to guide them as to what to do. Well, for the last 10 or 15 years, we didn't do that. We all turned inward as an introvert. And now, we have better areas surrounding us than we are ourselves. And to me, that's embarrassing because I do know better. And as I see people leave the city and move out of the city and these businesses close, it breaks my heart. Because this is where everyone wants to be. We haven't provided that. And in a 10-year plan, that would be my goal. I would expand the city to bring in as many residents as I can. I would also get this parking problem solved. These crime situations can be dealt with, and we would thrive as a metropolitan area again and try to not exactly compete with our neighbors, but once again, I'd like to lead. And I believe now that we've fallen behind, we have the opportunity with whatever we do to replace the things we've lost, we'll be brand new again. And if we're brand new, then we'll have everybody coming back to see the new things that we've done. If we turn this place around, then we could have everyone coming to see just what we did. And we can do it. There's no reason we can't. We have the smartest people, we have the greatest assets, we have everything going for us except a city council that's cooperating. These people will put you out of business in a heartbeat. And that's not what we need. If you open a business in this town, we need to send you a bouquet of flowers and a welcome card. And we're glad you're here. One thing I'd like to add before we get off the subject of the police department. We've talked about this, and there's one thing we agree on. Our police department's underpaid. Just so you know, statistically, the average police officer, a starting salary is about $52,000 a year. And this is something within our region. Our officers in Myrtle Beach start out at $39,000 a year. So we're about 25%, they're about 25% underpaid. If you're expecting a professional job, you have to have a professional doing it, and you have to pay them the appropriate salary to get that person.
I'll second that.
Well, here's the deal with the barricades, and here's the deal with Ocean Boulevard. The only Olympic sport I ever really qualified in was people watching. And that was really the biggest Olympic sport in Myrtle Beach. It was fascinating. And it was that way because we had people to watch, and it was packed. And slowly, piece by piece by piece, just like with the super block and the downtown and these streets, things were closed off, things were taken away, until now we don't have any people. I've had a business license in the city since 1984. I have several small stores. I've been renting for 30 years, and I've seen numerous people come and go. And I've been through this process hundreds of times. It's like playing football. It's not fun. You really can't even, it would take 2 college degrees to open a small business within the city of Myrtle Beach. And they used to say the longest distance in the world is between your head and your heart. Well, I've learned the longest distance in the world is between this business license office and the building department. The city doesn't need to be in the business of, I feel like this, if they don't have enough talent to run the city, they're going to be raising your taxes to make up the difference. If we get out here and we run a lot of cities.
How do you feel the loss of the pavilion has affected downtown Myrtle Beach? And I know you already gave us your answer, but would you bring it back if it was the ability of city government?
It's inexplicable to describe the loss of the pavilion. It's like losing one of your legs and you find out you're hobbling the rest of your life. Because that's what's happened to us. We had an entire area that was dependent upon that pavilion as the center attraction that gave it. That was the
Epicenter.
It was the epicenter. In city council, many times I've watched them in all these developments like Market Common, Broadway, and the Beach, and they would go back to critical mass. They would say over and over again, you have to have something with the critical mass so that you would have enough activity that it would carry the area. And that's what the pavilion was. That was that anchor that gave us the critical mass that drew enough people to make this system work. It's back to the ingredients in the cake. We lost the flour. Now you can't make a cake. And these motels sit partially full. We lost the magic attic. We talk about something for the kids to do. That's what everybody under 18 did for 40 years. They would go to the magic attic. It was a dance hall. It was designed for kids. All the kids would go, and it was safe. All that left, now the kids have nothing to do. I talked to many people earlier this week, and we would laugh and say, I got my first kiss at the pavilion, or my parents would bring us to the beach and they would just give me $10 and drop me off. And that's what kids did. And we all grew up that way. And I hate to say it, but it was Hitler that had a phrase, said, if you give me the children in 10 years, I'll run the country. And that's what we lost with the pavilion. If you had that pavilion there and those kids kept coming, they would come back and bring their children later. I feel like the pavilion is such a crucial part of Myrtle Beach itself. It was the only thing that defined us separate from Surfside or North Myrtle Beach, and it gave us something special. And it was so special, no one else is able to duplicate it, and for some reason we still have the space available to put it back. Personally, I think that might be a little divine. I'm looking at it that way, and that's an opportunity that just can't be passed up. And I do feel like city council, we've discussed it, and we feel like if city government was in agreement, we feel like the private partners maybe would meet us at the table, and there's something that could be worked out. Because all jokes aside, I've thought about it, they can open a state fair in 2 weeks. And at one time, we had some comments on the internet earlier, how the country music festival attracts 30,000 people a day for 3 days. Well, my God, the pavilion attracted 30,000 people a day for 90 days. And they did that without any city influence. This thing just happened by itself like magic. And from that, it created the memories that all of us shared that brought us here and made this place great. And when we lost it, it was like losing an arm. Now we walk around a little crippled. And there's no way to make up for it. It can't be done. We're a beach town. This is not Ohio. I don't care what they do in Ohio. I care what we do here. And what we need here back is that little bit of magic that sparks this thing, that makes the fire that burns in all of us, that gives you that excitement. Somebody mentioned to me they would ride down 501, and as soon as they saw that pavilion, boy, they just got excited. And I remember when I left this town to go to college, that's the first thing I wanted to see. Boy, when I come over that 501 bridge and I could see that pavilion, I knew I was home. Well, now I go down there and it's desolate. It looks like an empty field with a few ropes hanging in the air. And I just cannot fathom in my mind how it sits there vacant. We talk about opportunities. Look, that pavilion used to employ 300 people. That's 300 people. You talk about getting kids off the street and giving them something to do. Well, we all used to go hang out at the pavilion and people watch. And it wasn't bad. We did not get in trouble. And it gave us all something to look forward to. Every spring we couldn't wait till the pavilion opened up. And that's where we were Easter and Labor Day weekend. 4th of July was phenomenal. And it gave everybody a sense of home. Right now we've lost that. We have nothing that identifies us as a city that this is our main #1 draw.